Alright, today on Dadcraft we're going to take a look at different colors in the game. You saw maybe a little bit of this in the video of the Block Museum. We can see here there's a box called Dyes, and in it are the 16 different colors that you can stain and color things in the game. There's black, gray, light gray, white, and brown. There's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And then some light variants. We've got a magenta, light blue, cyan, lime, and pink. Now those 16 different colors are available to you, and we'll see how to gather them naturally from some of their sources. And then you can do different things. Now over here I've got one sheep of every color that's in an automated wool farm, and you can see all the way down the road that we go down those colors. I've lost a couple of sheep to some raids, so I'll have to get some sheep, bring them in, dye them the right color, and then have the automated wool farm go. But you can see you can get a full chest or more from one sheep that continues to graze and then gets sheared all the time. So yeah, this is a great source of some designs you can make, and we'll look at some designs done in wool and carpet in another video. But you can get all 16 of these colors, and then you can make pictures or statuary out of them. People do all kinds of crazy and fun things. But where do you get the 16 colors? Well, let's look at that next. Let's go out in the flower field and take a look for some of these colors. Alright, I'm out here in the forest, and I've found some flowers. Here's a cone flower. I'm going to collect some of these. These are going to give us some of the blue dyes that we want out of our process. And I found some dandelions. They're for the yellow and orange dyes, and you need to gather a few of them. Whoop. And then let's gather a couple more, and there we are. So we have some blue corn flowers, and we have dandelions, and across the way over here I see some red flowers. I'm going to gather some of those, and those will be for the red dye, even though you can make red dye a number of different ways. Flowers is one of the best ways to get the dye that you want. So here's some red flowers. We'll gather those. These are poppies, so you can see the poppies. We'll gather a few of these. We'll need a few of them to do some of the different permutations, because purple will use red and blue, and the pink will use red and white together, and so on. Alright, so we have some of the basic colors that we need. Let's grab a couple more, why not? We're here. And then we'll go back to base now and do some crafting to get the different dye colors. Alright, so we'll see you back at the base. Alright, before we go back, I've found a couple of squids in some shallow water. I'm going to whack them with a sword. They're going to give up the ink sac that we're going to need. I'll hit this other one. He'll give up an ink sac. And I'll swim over here. I'll get a couple more from these squid that are in this kind of shallow pool here. Whack. Dive down, whack. One more, you get whacked. The ink sacs are going to be used for the black and the grays. And we'll head back now that we have some. We'll just check our inventory here. And sure enough, we've got some ink sacs, dandelions, cornflowers, and poppies. Alright, we're back at the base, and there's two more things here that you're going to need for dyes, and that is, these are cocoa pods that are growing on a jungle wood, and so you whack at them when they're mature and you'll get some cocoa seeds, and then you can gather those up, and then you can use the seeds to plant some more immature pods. So you kind of have an endless source of these, because I've got 8 seeds, even though I planted 4 and I took 4 down. You get more than what you put back, and so these grow and take some time, become these mature cocoa pods, and you can harvest them. The other thing that I have here that grows in the desert biome is the cactus. Now this is a little automated cactus farm, and what happens is the cactus will grow, it'll get impacted by the fence up above, it'll pop off, the water will make them flow, and come down here into the item hopper. And so this just runs continuously while I'm in the space. It's an away from keyboard type of farm, or AFK. There is a tremendous amount of stuff backed up inside of this. I'll go down underneath and I'll show you the series of hoppers that runs, and I think even this hopper is full of them that run all the way down here into a sorting mechanism where there's another farm that makes melons and pumpkins and our good friends the cactuses. So I could take some cactuses out of here and this will just fill right back up. So this is what we need for green. Leftover things that you have as produce, put them in a composter and out will pop bone meal. So we'll take some of that as well. You can also take bones that you get from taking out skeletons, and we'll get some bones here from skeletons that have been taken out over time. So you'll need that for the lighter dyes from the white from the bone meal. You just need a few. All right, and then we have everything we need to begin crafting except one item, and that is the cactus. You need to cook the cactus in order to get the green dye out of it. It's the only one that you need to cook. Everything else you can just craft away and you're going to get it. So here you're going to see the green dye coming out. Now you're going to need enough green dye for green dye, but you're also going to need it for the lime dye. And so that's going to be something you're going to need to do. So cook the cactus. We'll just cook a few more just for fun. And it will produce one green dye for every cactus piece that you put in there. All right, we're here at the dyes chest, and we're going to take out a couple of black ink sacs and a couple of bones, and we're going to do the 4 grayish dyes. And so the first one is just taking a black ink sac that you get from the squids, and it's going to make the black dye, and it's that simple. 1 ink sac makes 1 black dye. Now for white, you take the bone, you put it in, you're going to get 3 bone meals out. You take the bone meal, put it in, and for each bone meal, you're going to get a white dye out. And that's pretty simple, right? So then you take a black and combine it with a white, and what you're going to get is you're going to get 2 gray dyes. And then you take a gray dye, combine it with a white, and you'll get a light gray dye. And that's how you get all 4 of these dyes, from black to gray to light gray to white, out of just ink sacs and bone meal. The other one that you're going to get, remember we collected the cocoa beans, and if you just put them into the crafting table, you're going to get brown dye out. So that's 5 kind of the shades of dyes, and we'll just put those away and then we'll work on the colors next. All right, we're back to the dyes, and we're going to get the red and yellow and blue dyes now that we're going to get from our flowers. So all we do is we put those flowers into the crafting table, and out comes the colored dye. So we have blue dye, we'll have yellow dye, and red dye. And so those are the basic 3 primary colors. We already got the green dye, you remember, from cooking the cactus. So we already have one of the tertiary colors. If we take a blue and a red, you guessed it, you know what we're going to get? Purple dye. If we take a yellow and a red, you know what we're going to get? Orange dye. You guessed it. Now, one would think if we take a blue and a yellow, we should get a green dye, but you don't. You can only get the green dye by cooking the cactus. So you're required to go down to some kind of area where there's cactuses growing. It's probably one of the desert biomes, and collect them. So now we have the 3 primary and the 3 secondary colors. All right, let's then get some of the lighter variants going, and the cyan color as well. All right, now we're going to go back to our dyes, get some more white dye out so we can make some of the lighter colors out here. And we will take a blue, and we'll take a white, and together they'll make the light blue. We'll take red, and we'll take white, and they'll make pink. And then we'll take a purple dye and a white, and you're supposed to get a magenta, but we didn't get a magenta. Now why is that? It's because the crafting recipes get a little silly. So we'll take a purple, and we'll take one of these light blues. Nope, not getting it that way. We'll take a pink dye, and look at that, we get a magenta. Now I don't know why they took the two tertiary colors and put them together to get the magenta, but there it is. And then we're also going to take the blue and the green, and we're going to get the cyan dye. Now that's two primary colors giving you a tertiary color like that, which is the way it should be, instead of the way it happened with the magenta. But then again, Minecraft doesn't always make sense. We are also going to take the green dye and put it with the white dye, and we will get lime green. I don't know how that works either, but there it is. And that's the last of the color dyes. So you have all the possible colors coming out of those few things that you need to gather. Gather the red, yellow, and blue flowers. Gather the cactuses. Gather the cocoa beans, ink sacs, and bones, and you can get all these colors. Now you can still get red and blue from other sources. You can get red also from beetroot if you put beetroot into it. You can get blue from lapis lazuli, which was the original way you could only get it, which is putting lapis lazuli in it, you get some blue dye. And so there are a couple of other ways. But flowers and those few items from nature, that's all you need. Now you can take one of these colors and whack a sheep with it. So let's go do that. Let's go turn a sheep a funky color. And we'll be right back to do that. I'm going to want to make one of these sheep red. So I've got a red dye in my hand. I'm going to go over to our sheep farm over here. We haven't gone over this very much. We've got a bunch of different gray sheep pretty much in here. They wander around in the wild. But you, sir, I'm going to right mouse button click you, and you are now a red sheep. It's just that simple. So you can make sheep of all these different colors. Now if I was to breed a red sheep with a white sheep, they'd have a baby sheep that could be a pink sheep. And that's the way it usually goes with the breeding. But the breeding takes far too long. It's easier to isolate the sheep, as I have in the wool farm, dye them the appropriate color, keep them separated. If you don't want to make an automated farm, you just come with some shears and shear the sheep and get the wool of that color. Let them roam around in their own pen, and then just pick out what color you need. So there's different ways to do this. Again, colors in Minecraft, a fun thing. You see, you can make the sheep any color you like of the 16. Beds, carpets, wool, the terracotta, even glass panes and glass blocks can be colored with all these colors to make your world a little bit different. All right, we'll see you next time. Have fun playing Minecraft.